Everybody, it is Russ from Kilt Cork, and I'm really happy to be coming to you tonight because I didn't think I was going to be able to earlier. I'm kind of coming down with something, so I wanted to make sure that I felt up to it, but I do, and I have a remedy that we'll go over in a minute. But welcome to Kilt Cork. My name is Russ Reyes, and this is our live show. We haven't done a live show in a couple of weeks, and I thought it'd be fun to do a live show. Last week, of course, we were out in Rancho Victoria talking about behind the cellar door, and that was really fun. It's always fun when you're hanging out with Victor, driving around, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So this week, we're coming to you live from my living room. Got a nice warm fire, because like I said, I'm kind of feeling under the weather. I got to tell you, I'm just kind of done with the rain. I know there's people out there that love the rain. They love this kind of weather, but this is California, it's not Seattle, so I'm kind of really just over this whole rain thing, and I think maybe that's where I might have picked something up. Who knows? Last week at Behind the Cellar Door was quite an adventure. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm ready for sunshine and margaritas, and we'll do a margarita show. I promise you, we're just going to do a whole show about tequila and margarita, all that kind of good stuff. But anyways, so since I'm kind of feeling sick, don't text me or send comments about feel better. It's I'm gonna be fine. But guys like to really milk it for all it's worth, so I'm gonna act like I'm really sick so I can get some service here in a minute. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll live. But since I am sick and I'm kind of feeling under the weather, I've got a really cool cocktail that we're gonna make here in a little bit. I'm sure you can guess what it is just by looking at the ingredients. But I'm gonna make a new take on a classic hot toddy, and hopefully that will help me feel a little bit better. So if you're just joining us, again, my name is Russ Reyes from Kilt Cork. Hey, Stacy, I see you're out there. And since Stacy's out there and I'm saying hi, I got to hang out with Stacy this past weekend, along with Debbie McCarthy from About Town Deb, and then of course Stacy is the Wine Cork Girls. And we were down in Amador at the Behind the Cellar Door event, and it was a great time. I have to tell you, even though the weather was cold and it was rainy, and you could get a chill every time you were outside the car, the wineries were warm and they were inviting, and there was some great food, and there was a lot of energy behind all of this behind the cellar door. So we started in Sutter Creek at Feist Wines, met Susan Feist, which was outstanding. Their wines are great. We had breakfast, and then from there we went in a couple of more tasting rooms in Sutter Creek. We said hi to the folks up at Uphill Vineyards, which is always fun to say hi to them, Beth and Ira. He wasn't wearing his kilt, but next time he promises me he'll have his kilt on. Then we made our way up to Amador City, and I kind of wanted to make a shout out to Amador City. If you can go to your Facebook and your Instagram pages and follow Visit Amador City, you'll see what they're doing down there. And if you've been to Amador City, you know it's a tiny little mining town that's on the way into Sutter Creek, and it's known for Andre's Bakery. So that's kind of what they've been known for a long time. And if you haven't had Andre's Bakery, then you're really not quite living yet. You have to get down there and taste the amazing baked goods from Andre's Bakery. But now they're not just known for that. There's some really cool things happening. They've got a tasting room called Holgate Hill, and that's Rob and Cassidy Holgate. That's their project. Young couple, have a beautiful little tasting room in a historic building, and just really enjoyed their wines. Got to meet them and finally, and it was really cool to meet them. And then the other winery that's in Amador City is Into Nowhere, and that's Chris Walsh. And his winery is kind of a cool vibe. And I have to tell you, when we were there, we had to have a Rock'em Sock'em Robot tournament. And I apologize for the fire, guys, but it's keeping me warm. So I don't know, doesn't it add a little ambiance to that? Anyways, I have to tell you about this Chris Walsh and Into Nowhere. So we had a Rock'em Sock'em Robot competition down there. First Georgia, who was with Debbie and I, we got into it, and then Stacy Carpenter. I'm undefeated. I can tell you, I'm undefeated in Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Not so good at Hungry Hippos. It's just not my game. I think it's the concentration of trying to see where the balls are, trying to grab them with your hippo mouth, the whole hippo mouth thing. It's not my game. Rock'em Sock'em Robots, totally. So if you're down in Amador City, the wines at End of Nowhere are outstanding. He's got a really cool way of making his wines. Talk to Chris Walsh about that, and then of course Holgate Hill. So Amador City, visit Amador City is their tag on both Facebook and Instagram, and it was a fantastic time. So with that, I kind of want to get into what I'm going to make here because I'm getting thirsty, and I want to kind of share this with you. This is a recipe for a different type of hot toddy. Everyone has had the honey and the lemon, and I love the honey and the lemon. And you know, I just realized if I could have my trusty assistant, Lauren, behind the camera, I need some lemon juice. So I have some great lemons here, but I need some lemon juice, and I don't want to do that on camera. So the whole thing with the hot toddy, I grew up drinking hot toddies when, you know, it was the thing to do when you were sick. And if you're out there and you grew up having hot toddies, give me a shout out, because I think we're missing a lot of that in our home remedies nowadays, because everyone's so afraid of medicinal purposes of this wonderful drink here. But when I was sick and I was a kid and I just couldn't sleep and I was cold and shivering, my mom would make me a hot toddy. And maybe that was my first introduction to liquor. I don't know. It tasted a lot like cough syrup at the time when I was drinking it. So I think I probably just thought it was another kind of cough syrup, to be honest with you. But as I grew up and I realized, oh, okay, I see, it's kind of a home remedy. And talking to other people, that's what they do. You know, you have a hot toddy when you're not feeling good. So I figured that would be appropriate for me to have a hot toddy and make this one for you, because I'm really excited about it. So first we're going to put this tea in the cup here. So these are 2 ginger tea bags. Thank you very much. Got my lemon juice here. We'll put that back here for a second. So it's 2 tea bags, and then basically it's about a 3/4 cup of water, boiling water. So I'm just gonna kind of pour that in here. That looks good. And we're gonna let that steep for a few minutes until I get that nice ginger flavor. And I'll give you guys the recipe. I'll put the recipe on the feed afterwards. And if you guys want to try and make it this winter with what's left of it, it looks like winter's going to last a little bit longer, then you're welcome to, because I think it's an outstanding version of the hot toddy that we all kind of grew up with. So what you're going to need, obviously you're going to need some whiskey, and you can use bourbon if you want. Now, I've got my trusty old Jack Daniels. Always been a fan of Jack Daniels. The thing about the bourbons and the whiskeys that you're going to use to mix with, I'll take this while this is steeping to kind of give you my opinion on bourbons and the types that you're going to want to mix with. If you buy a $70 bottle of Rubicon rye, I'm sure it's going to make a great Manhattan, or it'll make a great old fashioned. It just, because it's an outstanding whiskey. But that kind of whiskey is really meant to savor and sip. So you either drink it neat, or you put it in a highball glass with a big ice cube, and you sip your bourbon, and that's that kind of bourbon. You know, Blanton's is like that. There's just an assortment of great single barrel or small batch bourbons and whiskeys that are out there. I wouldn't necessarily use that for a hot toddy. Of course, Michael and Beverly House might say otherwise. You know, it's that whole adage of, you know, your recipe is only as good as the ingredients. But I got to tell you, I'm a fan of Jack Daniels. Jack's been a good friend of mine through the years, and so I think for mixing like this, Jack Daniels is probably appropriate. So that's what I'm going to use. Of course, maple syrup. You got to have maple syrup to make this cocktail, and then lemon juice, and then this tea. You can use any ginger tea, but this is just a brand I got at the store, and it's just ginger. So there's a lot of medicinal purposes for ginger. I suppose you could use fresh ginger. Like I said, I'm sure Michael and Beverly are going to take this cocktail to a whole nother level with the freshness of the ginger and all that kind of stuff. But for me right now, talking to you guys and kind of just feeling like I got to fight this cold to get over it, it sounds like a good deal. So we're almost ready here with our tea to kind of step it up and start putting some ingredients in it. But while it's finishing up here, and I've got a little bit more time, I want to talk to you about a couple of events that are coming up, and actually give you a discount code for one of them. So the next big event, like you said, we just had Behind the Cellar Door this past weekend, and the weekend before that, we had the Winter Wine Adventure up on Carson Road, which was a lot of fun, by the way. It was perfect. Blanketed in white snow, lots of fun. So if you missed that this year, make sure you go next year. But coming up is El Dorado County Passport, and this is a tradition up here in El Dorado County. It's over 25 years that this has been happening, and it's 2 weekends, so you can come either the 6th and 7th or the 13th and 14th of April. And you can get your tickets online. They're still available online. Now, the prices are going to go up on the 15th. That's just what happens nowadays when you buy tickets for any type of event. You know, the events organizers encourage you to buy early. So if you didn't get the early bird tickets, the prices already went up February 1st. So they're going to go up again. But if you're a Kilt Cork fan and you're watching the show, or you're going to catch up on it later, if you're tuning in later, you need to message me. So either in the feed comment, say, hey, I'd like the code, or you can private message me, or if you have my phone number, text me or whatever, and I have a Kilt Cork code that will get you $5 off the tickets. So that'll save you a little money when you're out there enjoying Passport. Here's the catch. You guys want to do it before the 15th. I want to make sure you guys get the best value. So do it before the 15th, because then the tickets are going to go up again, and then you'll still stay at $5, but you know, you want to get the price now. So that's the only thing with that. So our tea is about ready here. We'll just kind of let this look like it's finishing to steep. So along with the Passport events this year, they're having a really cool thing at the Mercedes dealership at El Dorado Hills. They're having a gala. It's the winemakers, Passport Winemakers Gala. And what that is some of the winemakers are going to be out at the Mercedes dealership, and it's kind of a really cool dress-up event. So you're going to want to wear your finest clothing, your cocktail attire, and you get to go down there and taste wines that they're not going to be serving at Passport, and some maybe library wines. And you actually get to talk to the winemakers, and you get to enjoy this amazing food from some local restaurants that are both there in town center and around. So I encourage you, if you really want to have a kind of an upscale evening before Passport, you can do that. You don't even have to go to Passport, you just want to go to that event. But it sounds like a really cool event. They haven't done it before. So we're going to talk, you know, I just want to make sure you guys know about that, so if you want to do it. All right, so enough about Passport. Let's get back into this hot toddy, because I'm really feeling like I need it. So what I've done is 3/4 cup of water and 2 of the tea bags, 2 ginger tea bags. I'm pouring a little over 2 teaspoons of maple syrup in here. And that's pretty awesome right there. And then you're supposed to do about a tablespoon of lemon juice. So we'll kind of guesstimate. Looks like that's probably a tablespoon. I like the lemon flavor in it, so if it's not, that's okay. And then, of course, you've got to put your whiskey in. So I'm going to crack this new bottle of Jack Daniel's open. Calls for about 1.5 ounces of whiskey. You can kind of do it to taste. That's about 1.5 ounces. This is a really cool tin shot glass. It's from Morton's family, but it's really cool, so I have to use it. It reminds me of like 1800s. So that's my 1.5 ounces of whiskey. And I'm sure all of you at home right now watching this by your fire are thinking, I think I need one of these, because you do. Who doesn't need a hot toddy right now when it's rainy and cold, and especially if you're starting to get sick? I think we all do. So I'm drinking out of my Clan Campbell coffee cup too. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of cool. I think it's a gift from my mom. Her last name was Campbell. If you know my story, you know that. You know the situation. So anyways, I'm going to take, before I taste, I just got to tell you, the aroma coming off this mug, not only do you get the oakiness and the caramel of the whiskey, but you totally get the ginger right away, and of course the lemon. Right now, there's no maple nose at all, so I think hopefully it'll be in the taste, but cheers. Okay, that's outstanding. You don't really get the maple as much until the very end. Different than the honey. Sometimes you get that honey when you're drinking a hot toddy, but the maple's kind of understated. And of course, the ginger is like right up there with that bourbon. It's really good. This might be my new favorite hot toddy. So you're gonna have to try that at home if you're kind of feeling sick. It's okay. It's medicinal. This is totally medicinal. So I encourage you to drink your hot toddies. Okay, what else here? A couple more things. I see we've got someone asking about the tea brand really quick before I get into the next event, but this is Traditional Medicinals. That's what it's from. I just got it at Rayleigh's. I'm sure you can get other brands of tea out there. I know that there's a couple of other, what's that big brand of tea? I can't remember what it's called, but anyways, there's a couple of different ones. But this one is Traditional Medicinals, and I'll put this in the feed so you guys can see what it is. But it's great ginger tea. Okay, so the next event after Passport that's coming up is back in Amador, and this is May 4th. May is my birthday month. If you haven't been following me for a while, May 3rd actually is my birthday. Well, May 4th is the Amador Four Fires, and that's a great event. Food, music, there's lots of wine, lots of people. It's all at one location down at the fairgrounds, but that's coming up May 4th. I don't know anything about tickets yet, so those will probably be coming out pretty soon, but stay tuned for that for more information. The other thing I need to tell you about here really quick before we sign off for the night, because I think I'm about ready to put a blanket around me and finish my hot toddy. But yeah, we've got t-shirts now. So this is the woman's version of the V-neck, and then of course I'm wearing the guy's version. And you know, I'm an artist. I like to draw stuff, and this is a drawing of my take of, I know I'm making the noises with the mic, but my triskel that's around my neck. It's kind of a take on that, and done with the vines. So if you like wine and you like Celtic symbols, it's probably the shirt for you. Otherwise, maybe there'll be something else coming up that you might like. But I encourage you, if you want to have a Kilt Cork t-shirt, go to the website. They're available there, and they're 25 bucks, I think, for either one of them. Okay, so really quick here before we sign off and say goodnight, say goodbye for the night. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in here really quick. But the next show next week is still working that one out. But the show after that, the 28th, so 3 weeks from now, the 28th, we're going to be at Lava Cap, and that will be another Watch This show. And we're going to be talking to Kevin Jones of Lava Cap about Passport. The Lava Cap family has been a part of Passport for a long time, so there's a lot of history there. And we'll just chat a little bit about Passport and what's new this year and what you can expect to experience. And so that's the 28th. Don't miss that one. And I think that's really about it. I think I've kind of gone over everything, except I just saw something that's pretty amazing. I gotta say, I heard that Jamie from Outlander drinks his whiskey out of a shot glass like this. So if you haven't been watching Outlander, you're missing something. So thank you for joining me tonight. Again, I'm Russ from Kilt Cork, coming to you from my family room. I've got a fire going, kind of feeling under the weather. So I think after I sign off here, I'm going to finish my maple ginger hot toddy, and hopefully you guys will have a nice, warm, dry night yourselves. Until next week, my name is Russ Reyes from Kilt Cork. Thank you for joining me. Cheers.